Although it sits on the eastern shores of the Caspian Sea, the Central Asian country Turkmenistan is essentially a landlocked state. It is bordered by Uzbekistan on the north, Kazakhstan on the northwest, Iran on the south, Afghanistan to the southeast, and the Caspian on the west. From 1925 to 1991, Turkmenistan was a republic of the Soviet Union. The capital of Turkmenistan is Ashgabat. Area 189,657 square miles, 491,210 square kilometers. Population 2020 est. 6,031,000. Land and climate, most of Turkmenistan is desert. The Karakum, a desert of long sand ridges, is its largest single feature and accounts for more than 70% of the land area. The Kugitangtau and Kopet Dag mountains in the south offer the only elevation in the country. The latter range sits atop a seismically active region, and earthquakes are not uncommon. An earthquake measuring almost 10 points on the Richter scale decimated the city of Krasnovodsk, now Turkmenbashi, in 1895. A similar quake razed Ashgabat in 1924. The capital was again destroyed in 1948 by an earthquake measuring 7.3 that resulted in roughly 100,000 deaths. In December 2000, a 7.2 magnitude quake struck a sparsely populated region in western Turkmenistan. The Amu Darya, which flows through the northeast, is the main waterway in Turkmenistan. Other rivers include the Tayhan, Morgab, and Atrek, as well as smaller rivers. Because of their location and the direction of their currents, these rivers are not available to irrigate farmland. Most water for irrigation comes from the Karakum Canal. Originally built in 1967, the waterway was extended to the Caspian Sea in the 1980s. Although its principal role is irrigation, the canal is also used in shipping. Low humidity, little rainfall, and high evaporation contribute to the extremely dry continental climate in Turkmenistan. Most precipitation falls in the spring, ranging from roughly 3 inches 8 centimeters a year in the northwestern desert to approximately 12 inches 30 centimeters annually in the mountains. The average annual temperature range is 57 degrees to 61 degrees Fahrenheit, 14 degrees to 16 degrees Celsius, though there are regional extremes. Summer temperatures rarely fall below 95 degrees Fahrenheit 35 degrees Celsius in the north, and in the Karakum can reach 122 degrees Fahrenheit 50 degrees Celsius. At the other extreme, winter temperatures near the Afghan border in the far south can drop to minus 27 degrees Fahrenheit minus 33 degrees Celsius. Plants and animals, most of the vegetation in Turkmenistan is typical of that found in deserts, though the oases and mountains harbor enough moisture to support a wide range of plants. Wild grape, figs, almonds, and walnuts are found in the Kopet Dag valleys, while black poplar, willow, reed, and cane trees cluster along the Amu Darya in floodplain forests called Tugay, and pistachio trees grow on the mountain slopes. Despite its dry climate, Turkmenistan boasts a wide range of animal species. Foxes, gazelles, wildcats, and tortoises inhabit the deserts, as do rodents and reptiles. The mountains harbor goats, lynx, and snow leopards. Reptiles include the Asian cobra and desert monitor lizard. The Tugay are home to jackals and the rare pink deer. In winter, migratory birds settle along the Caspian shore. People and culture. Turkmenistan has one of the highest rates of population growth of all the former Soviet republics, but it is the least densely populated, with less than 30 people per square mile. Most people live in the oasis areas in the south and along the Amu Darya in the east. The population is roughly split between urban and rural settlements. The largest ethnic group in Turkmenistan is the Turkmen, who make up more than 3/4 of the population. There are also small minorities of Uzbeks, Russians, and Kazakhs. Among religious affiliations, Islam has the most followers, most of whom are Sunnite Muslims. There is also a small population who belong to the Russian Orthodox Church. A small minority of Turkmen claim no religious affiliation. The official language is Turkmen, a branch of the Altaic language family linguistically similar to the languages spoken by Azerbaijanis and the Turks. Prior to Soviet rule in the 1920s, most Turkmen were educated at traditional Muslim schools. However, these were largely replaced with a Soviet education system once Turkmenistan became a socialist Soviet republic. Although the school system faced challenges following the collapse of the Soviet Union, standards remain high. Education is free, and it is compulsory through the 8th grade. Opportunities for higher education range from technical institutes to the Turkmenistan State University in Ashgabat. The literacy rate in Turkmenistan is 98%. Economy. Since the Russian Revolution of 1917, the economy of Turkmenistan has been transformed. Agriculture became mechanized and, because of widespread irrigation, greatly expanded. The Karakum Canal, using water from the Amu Darya, irrigates approximately 1 million acres, 404,700 hectares. Cotton is the main agricultural product, though grain crops, especially wheat, barley, and corn, are grown. Livestock raising follows cotton in importance. Caracal sheep, whose wool is used to make carpets, are the most plentiful, though camels are important, especially as beasts of burden in the desert regions. Also notable are the magnificent Akal Teke horses, which are raised in the south. One of the world's oldest breeds, the Akal Teke has been used in cavalries and for racing for roughly 3,000 years, and it continues to enjoy an international reputation as a show horse. The somewhat smaller Yomit horse is another ancient breed that originated in western Turkmenistan. Discoveries of petroleum and natural gas have greatly expanded Turkmenistan's heavy industry. Production of metal products, machinery, chemicals, and the generation of electricity from hydroelectric power are also significant in the economy. Light industry has centered on food processing and textiles, especially cotton, woolen, and silk fabrics. Rug making and embroidery are major activities of local industry. Turkmen rugs and carpets are exported to more than 50 countries. Government. In 1992 Turkmenistan adopted a new constitution that established a three-branched government. The executive branch is the dominant wing of the government, with ultimate authority over matters of political, economic, and social policy. It is headed by a president who is assisted by a powerful People's Council. The president serves as both head of government and chief of state. The People's Council, or Khalq Maslahati, is composed of the president, members of the legislature, and a variety of other members. The constitution mandates that the president can serve a maximum of 2 consecutive 5-year terms. However, in 1994 the president's term was extended to 10 years in a special referendum, and in 1999 the legislature approved a motion to extend the term of President Saparmurat Niyazov to a lifelong appointment. Niyazov died in 2006. The legislative branch of the government consists of a unicameral, or one-chambered, parliament called the Meclis whose 50 members are elected to serve 5-year terms. The judiciary is helmed by a Supreme Court and a Supreme Economic Court. Justices are appointed by the president to serve 5-year terms. History. As early as the 6th century BC, the land that is now Turkmenistan was part of the Persian Achaemenid Empire. It fell to Alexander the Great in 331 BC and then to his successors, the Seleucids. The Parthians and then the Sassanids controlled the area in the early centuries of the Christian era, but Arabs conquered it in the 7th century. The migration of Turkic peoples into Turkmenia, as it was then known, began about the same time. The Mongols, under Genghis Khan, overran Turkmenia in the 13th century, and it passed to various local khanates thereafter. Russian penetration into Turkmenia began in the 18th century in an attempt to control Asian trade routes. Despite some resistance, Turkmenia was annexed by Russia between the years 1869 and 1881. After the Russian Revolution in 1917, the region was an administrative subdivision of the Turkestan Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic, but in 1924 it became the Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic. There was resistance to Soviet rule throughout the 1930s. During the almost 70 years of Soviet rule, the people of Turkmenistan benefited from improved health care and modern education but suffered political repression. Amid the disintegration of the Soviet Union, Turkmenistan declared its independence in 1991. Despite the adoption of a constitution that promised freedom of speech and other civil liberties, Turkmenistan remained an authoritarian state under the dictatorial rule of the country's first president, Saparmurat Niyazov. Opposition to the president and government was not tolerated, and the executive branch maintained complete control of the media. Following Niyazov's death in December 2006, Gurbanguly Berdi Mukhomedov, the deputy prime minister, was named acting president.